You might ask, how can you let go during a crisis? Isn't now the worst possible time to let go? That's exactly what I used to think. When life gets difficult, our instinct is to hold on tighter. But what if that's exactly what's making us suffer? Recently, I've been exploring Stoicism, and one idea keeps showing up. Many of the things that make us miserable are things we were never meant to control in the first place. So, in this video, I'll share 3 Stoic principles that are helping me navigate one of the hardest seasons of my life. And stay until the end because the final lesson made me question something I thought I already understood about what it means to live a good life. One thing I've noticed during difficult times is that my world becomes incredibly small. I become convinced that one specific outcome has to happen. Maybe it's a job, a client, a relationship, an opportunity, a goal, and my mind starts telling me if this doesn't work out, everything falls apart. But is that actually true, or have I simply attached all of my hope to one door? There is a quote from Epictetus that says, "Never say about anything, I have lost it, but I have returned it." At first, I didn't understand this quote, but after deeper thinking, I think the point is this. Nothing in life was guaranteed to stay with us forever. Whether it's opportunities, relationships, money, status, or even our circumstances. And when we accept that reality, something interesting happens. We stop clinging, we stop treating one particular outcome as if it's our only chance. I've noticed that whenever I'm in a crisis, I spend a lot of time staring at the closed door. The opportunity that didn't happen, the thing I wanted, the version of life I thought I would have by now. But while I'm staring at that closed door, I completely miss the fact that many other paths are still available. Maybe not the ones I wanted or planned, but paths nonetheless. And that realization alone brings relief because now the situation isn't everything is over, but it's a direction I didn't expect. Those are 2 very different things. And if you're going through a difficult season right now, maybe it's worth asking yourself, what door am I staring at? And what path am I refusing to see because I'm so focused on what I've lost? One of the worst things about a crisis is that your mind starts living in the future. At least mine does. I'll start thinking about next month, next years, 5 years from now, and I'll create entire disaster scenarios in my head. What if this doesn't work? What if I fail? What if things get worse? What if I never recover? And before anything has actually happened, I'm already emotionally exhausted. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." Simple advice, but surprisingly difficult because our brains seem to believe that worrying is productive, as if anxiety somehow prepares us for the future. But when I look back at the hardest periods of my life, most of the things I worried about never happened, and the thing that did happen were often things I couldn't have predicted anyway. The Stoics understood something important. The future is too large to carry all at once. The present isn't. When I feel overwhelmed now, I try to ask a much smaller question, not how do I fix my entire life or how do I solve everything, just what is the next step? Maybe it's sending one application, making one phone call, going for a walk, just taking one action. That's it. Because crises become unbearable when we try to carry tomorrow, next month, and next year at the same time. The next step is usually manageable, and enough next steps eventually become a path. This principle hit me harder than the others because anxiety has always disguised itself as responsibility in my life. I used to believe that if I worried enough, I was being prepared, that somehow anxiety was helping me stay ahead. But then I came across this quote from Seneca: "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." And honestly, that one hit me because I realized how much of my suffering wasn't coming from reality. It was just my imagination. It wasn't coming from what was happening, but from what might happen. Be honest, how many nights have you spent worrying about things that never happened? How many hours have you spent replaying conversations that were already over? How much energy have you wasted fighting scenarios that existed only in your head? The Stoics believe that when we suffer, it's often because we've become attached to things outside our control. And when we do that, those things begin to control us. If my peace depends on other people behaving exactly the way I want them to behave, I'll never have peace. If my happiness depends on the economy, I'll never have happiness. If my well-being depends entirely on external circumstances, I'll always be vulnerable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That doesn't mean bad things aren't happening. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It simply means recognizing the boundary. There are things I can control, and there are things I can't. I can't control whether someone hires me. I can't control whether people like me. I can't control the economy. I can't control the past, but I can control my actions, my attitude, and my response. And strangely enough, when I stop trying to control everything, I feel more in control, not less. When I first started thinking about letting go, I thought it sounded like defeat, surrender, like giving up, but Stoicism frames it differently. It's not about giving up on life, it's about giving up the fight against reality, because reality always wins. The more I reflect on these ideas, the more I realize that my happiness has often been conditional. I'll be happy when things work out, when life becomes stable, when I reach the goal, when the crisis is over. But now I think life doesn't work that way. What if happiness isn't something waiting for us on the other side of perfect circumstances? What if it's available right here, even now, in uncertainty, during a difficult season? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life." I'm still trying to figure out what that really means because I'm still in the middle of this journey dealing with uncertainty and facing challenges. But these Stoic ideas have given me something I desperately needed: a little more peace, a little more perspective, a little more freedom. Because maybe letting go isn't about losing, I think it's about finally releasing the things that were weighing us down all along, and about accepting what is, taking the next step, and trusting that another path is always open. If you're going through a difficult season right now, let me know in the comments which of these principles resonated with you the most. And in the next video, we'll explore what Buddhism has to teach us about letting go during a crisis. I'll see you there.